Carmel, Indiana was just ranked the #1 best place to live in the entire United States by U.S. News and World Report. Not Indiana, not the Midwest, the entire country. So let's talk about it. I'm Cameron Geesaman, a local realtor here in the North Indy suburbs, and today we're breaking down why Carmel keeps getting national attention, why so many people want to live here, and what actually makes it one of the most desirable suburbs in the Indianapolis area. And listen, Carmel is amazing, but it's not for everyone. I already made a full video on the downsides of living in Carmel, so if you want the honest, what's the catch version, I'll link that for you at the end of this video. But today we're focusing on the good stuff, the schools, the lifestyle, the neighborhoods, the parks, the trails, the restaurants, the location, and all the reasons Carmel has become one of the most talked about suburbs in the country. So let's get into why Carmel, Indiana landed at #1 and whether it deserves the hype. One of the biggest reasons Carmel is so desirable is the overall quality of life. That sounds like a very official ranking report phrase, but in real life, it means Carmel is clean, well-maintained, convenient, safe feeling, and full of amenities people actually use. You have beautiful neighborhoods, strong schools, parks, trails, restaurants, shopping, community events, and public spaces that feel intentional. And intentional is probably one of the best words to describe Carmel. Carmel did not accidentally become Carmel. This city has spent decades investing in infrastructure, the parks, trails, roundabouts, so many, public art, downtown redevelopment, performing arts, and mixed-use areas. Whether you love every single decision or not, you can tell there has been a vision here. Now, when you drive through areas like, say, the Arts and Design District, City Center, Midtown, or along the Monon Trail, it feels different from a typical suburb. It has a more polished, planned, almost European-inspired feel in certain areas. You have brick streets, local restaurants, public art, beautiful landscaping, walkable pockets, and the kind of city planning where you can honestly tell Carmel wanted to be more than just subdivisions and, say, strip malls. And listen, we love a Target run as much as anyone, but Carmel said, what if we added sculptures, roundabouts, and a world-class concert hall? Very extra, very on brand, very Carmel. Another reason people move to Carmel is the school system. Carmel Clay Schools has a very strong reputation locally and honestly nationally. And for families like you relocating from out of state, schools are often one of the first things you ask about. The district is known for strong academics, competitive athletics, performing arts, extracurricular activities, and a massive high school that gives students a lot of opportunities. And when I say massive, I mean Carmel High School is basically its own small city. It's the largest high school in the state of Indiana. You don't just go to school there, you enter a full ecosystem. So for a lot of families, the appeal is that your kids can kind of find their lane, whether they're into sports, music, theater, robotics, academics, clubs, or something very specific that probably did not exist when, say, we went to school. Carmel tends to have options. And that matters because you aren't just buying a house, you're trying to picture your daily life. You're asking, will my kids be okay here? Will they have opportunities? Will this feel like a good fit for our family? For many families, Carmel checks those boxes. Another huge reason Carmel is popular is the location. Carmel sits just north of Indianapolis, which means you get suburban living, but you're still close to, say, the big city. Depending on where you are at in Carmel, you can usually get to downtown Indianapolis in about 30 minutes, give or take, on traffic, construction, or whatever mystery is happening on I-465 that day. You're also close to major employment centers on the north side, including Keystone, Meridian Street, North Indy, Fishers, and the broader Hamilton County area. That balance is a big deal for relocation buyers. You want convenience, but you also want space, schools, and a community that feels established, and Carmel gives you a lot of that. You can live in a quiet neighborhood, but still be close to hospitals, corporate offices, shopping, restaurants, entertainment, and the Indianapolis airport is still manageable. It's not, stay 5 minutes away, but it's also not some dramatic journey where you need snacks, a playlist, and a friend to ride along to keep you awake. Now, let's talk about lifestyle, because this is where Carmel really separates itself from a lot of other suburbs. Most suburbs are pretty car dependent. You live in a neighborhood, drive to everything, and the most exciting pedestrian activity is walking from your parking spot into Costco. We do love Costco here. Carmel still has plenty of car dependent areas. Of course, this is Indiana. We're not pretending you're going to sell your car and live your best European village life full time here, but Carmel does have some very kind of walkable and bikeable pockets, especially around the Monon Trail, Midtown, City Center, and the Arts and Design District. The Monon Trail is a huge part of Carmel's lifestyle. It runs through the heart of the city and connects people to restaurants, breweries, coffee shops, parks, events, and many gathering spaces. You'll see people walking, biking, running, pushing strollers, walking dogs, meeting friends, grabbing dinner, or heading to Midtown Plaza to hang out. Midtown is one of those places that really shows what Carmel's done well. There's outdoor seating, a big screen, games, restaurants nearby, and the Monon running right through it. It gives people a casual place to gather, which matters because one of the biggest complaints about suburban living is that it can feel disconnected. Honestly, Carmel has worked very hard to fight against that disconnected feel. It gives people places to go, things to do, and places where the community actually feels alive. It's one of the places we actually meet a lot of our YouTube clients like you to just have a conversation and determine if we're a right fit. It's such a great spot. Another thing that makes Carmel stand out is the arts, culture, and entertainment. For a suburb, Carmel has a pretty impressive art scene. You have the Arts and Design District, Carmel City Center, Midtown again, and then the Palladium, which is genuinely one of the most beautiful performance venues in the region. And this surprises, honestly, a lot of relocation buyers. You expect great schools, you expect nice neighborhoods, you even expect parks, but you don't always expect a suburb in Indiana to have this level of arts and culture. The Palladium brings in major performances, concerts, and events. The Arts and Design District gives Carmel a more interesting downtown style feel. And throughout the year, you have the Carmel Farmers Market, festivals, holiday events, outdoor concerts, and the Carmel Christkindl Market, which has become a huge seasonal draw. Carmel does a really great job of creating events that get people out of the house. And that matters. It keeps the city from feeling like just a collection of neighborhood. It gives Carmel an actual community heartbeat. Another reason Carmel ranks so high is because of the parks and trails. Carmel has invested a lot into outdoor spaces, and that's a major quality of life factor. You have the previously mentioned Monon Trail, Central Park, Coxhall Gardens, and the Flowing Well Park, the Japanese Garden, and plenty of neighborhood parks and green spaces throughout the city. Central Park is especially popular because it connects to the Monon and has trails, green spaces, playgrounds, and the Monon Community Center, which has our family favorite water park. Coxhall Gardens is one of those places that feels almost kind of too pretty to be sitting in the middle of a suburban Indiana area. It has incredible landscaping, walking paths, water features, and a lot of open space. It's a really great spot for photos, say prom photos or engagement photos, walks, or just getting outside without having to drive an hour to feel like you escaped civilization. Now, let's talk about housing, because Carmel has a wide range of houses, but I want to be very honest here because Carmel is not the cheapest place to live in the Indianapolis area. You can find condos, townhomes, older established neighborhoods, custom homes, luxury properties, golf course communities, and newer construction. But compared to many other suburbs around Indianapolis, Carmel is definitely one of the more expensive areas. That said, part of the reason people pay more to live in Carmel is because they're buying into kind of the full package. They're paying for the things we've talked about: schools, location, amenities, parks, trails, city services, the reputation, and long-term demand. And from a real estate standpoint, Carmel has historically been a very strong market because demand stays high. Relocation buyers ask about it all the time. Local move-up buyers consider it. Empty nesters like the walkable areas and low-maintenance options near City Center and Midtown. Families like the schools and neighborhoods, professionals like the location and amenities. When you have that many buyer groups interested in the same city, that tends to support the market. Now, that does not mean every house in Carmel sells instantly or that you can slap a sign in the yard and expect magic. Pricing still matters. Condition still matters. Marketing still matters. So please don't let anyone tell you Carmel homes sell themselves. That is how we end up with bad listing photos and emotional damage. Overall, Carmel remains one of the most desirable real estate markets in central Indiana. Another thing people love about Carmel is the sense of safety and polish. When people visit Carmel, especially from larger metro areas or places where they're dealing with more congestion, they often comment on how clean and calm it feels. The roads are maintained, the public spaces look cared for, the neighborhoods are generally well kept. There's a strong sense of civic pride, and no, that doesn't mean Carmel is perfect. No city is, but the overall feeling people get when they drive around Carmel is that it's organized, cared for, and thoughtfully developed. And depending on your personality, this is either a major selling point or a little too polished for your taste. I've even heard that it feels like the Truman Show, which is exactly why I say Carmel is great, but it's not for everyone. Some people want more land, some want a little lower price point, some want a less planned feeling, some want fewer rules or less of that pristine, button-up energy, and that's completely okay. That's why I always tell people, don't just move somewhere because it ranks #1 on a list. Rankings are helpful, I get it, but they don't know your budget, your commute, your personality, your kids, your lifestyle, or whether you secretly hate roundabouts. And speaking of roundabouts, we cannot talk about Carmel without talking about them because Carmel honestly is famous for its roundabouts, or infamous depending on who you ask and how recently they were stuck behind someone who forgot how lanes actually work.
Oh, you know you are in Carmel when you hit the one of 148 and growing roundabouts. Here it is, one of many.
But the roundabouts are part of Carmel's identity. They were designed to improve traffic flows, reduce serious accidents, and keep cars moving without relying, yet again, on more stoplights. Once you get used to them, they really do make it easier to move through the city. At first, they can feel intimidating, especially if you've relocated from somewhere that doesn't use them much. But after a while, you start to understand why Carmel leaned into them so heavily. Another reason Carmel is such a great place to live is that it appeals to different stages of life. It's not just a suburb for families with young kids, although that is definitely a big part of the population. Carmel also works well for professionals who want access to Indianapolis but prefer suburban living. It works for empty nesters who want restaurants, trails, and low maintenance housing options. It works for retirees who want amenities, healthcare access, and an active community. And it even works for relocation buyers who want a strong landing spot when they're moving to the Indianapolis area and don't know the suburbs yet. That's one of Carmel's biggest strengths. It has layers. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, Carmel sounds amazing, but what's the catch? I have a full video on the cons of living in Carmel that you should watch next, because that's where I break down the things people don't always love about living here. And if you're thinking about moving to Carmel, Fishers, Westfield, Noblesville, or anywhere around the North Indy suburbs, my husband Adam and I would love to help you figure out which area actually fits for your lifestyle. Not just what looks good online, not just what was ranked #1, but what makes sense for your budget, your commute, your family, and the way you actually want to live. Once again, I'm Geesaman, your favorite Indianapolis YouTubing realtor and North Indy hype girl. You can call, text, or email me anytime. My contact info is in the description below. Adam and I help people like you relocate to the Indianapolis area all the time, and we would love to help you make a smart move too. And if you want the honest side of Carmel, again, go watch my video on the downsides of living in Carmel next, because yes, Carmel may be ranked #1, but that does not mean it's everyone's perfect match. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.